Hello, 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 hello.
Function F10.
Okay, so our team name is 2YBARYL, and here we build a project called Zero Password at JUET Builds Hackathon. So, what is our project? Basically, our project is a decentralized password management system, which is the most secure and efficient way to store your passwords. Our team consists of myself, Krati Jain, Naman Khattar, and my peer Ritesh Yadav. So, why did we choose decentralization for our project? We chose decentralization because of the various features it provides. Basically, it increases the system reliability. As there is no central server, system becomes much more reliable, and it increases the speed of data transmission. It also enhances network security, data privacy, as there is no central server which stores our database, so nobody has a central authority over it, hence eliminating any point of central failure. So, how did we achieve this decentralization? We achieved it using a technology called IPFS. IPFS stands for Interplanetary File System. It is basically a peer-to-peer, version-controlled, content-addressed file system. How is it different from a traditional file system? Let's look at a visualization for it. So, basically, this is the difference between HTTP and IPFS system. In HTTP system, you can see there's a single line of communication from the client to the server and vice versa. Basically, all our clients send their request from the system, to which the server responds with the response accordingly. However, in IPFS, we eliminate the central server for communication, and our data is basically stored among our peers who mine who basically mine data in exchange of cryptocurrencies. So, how did we achieve this IPFS? We achieved it using Web3 Storage API and Filecoin. Okay, so Web3.storage is an API token which stores our data and deploys it over IPFS server using a token key. And the Filecoin makes our data accessible to the users over the public IPFS network. So that eliminates any point of centralization of data. So basically what we tend to achieve through this is, when a user stores his information in our application, we won't send that information to any particular server or database. Instead, we'll transfer that information over the public IPFS server, and we'll generate a URL link accordingly through which the user can access his or her data. This increases the privacy, network security, and all other features as we discussed. But that's not it. So usually when people log in various websites or application, the login authentication involves sending your data from client to server and then back from server to for verification. So ultimately our data is stored in some form in some central server used by that particular website. But what if we tell you that we provide an alternative to this client server communication as well? So here comes the concept of zero knowledge proof. So zero knowledge proof is basically a mathematical concept through which we verify to the verifier without providing an actual proof to the verifier. And how does this concept work over the web hosting? So the general authentication on the web involves entering the username and password which the browser sends to the server in form of a request. Then the server runs security check and verifies if that password is correct or not, and sends an authentication response from the server to the web browser. And ultimately the web browser shows the response on the website to our screen. So how this process converts in when we use the concept of zero knowledge proof. So for example, we have this person who enters his username and password. Now the web browser, instead of sending it directly to the server, would run some challenges on that password and create a challenge key and store it on the web browser. Now, the server generates some random challenges, and when that challenges are returned to the web browser chooses responses, and then the authentication process is completed in from the client side to the user only, instead of doing it from the client to the server. Now let's see how did we achieve this concept in real life. So for that, I'll open our project, which is hosted at this IP address. So basically we hosted our project using DigitalOcean, the cloud service of DigitalOcean. We did not use any database for that. We have just used DigitalOcean for creating a server. Okay, so this is our sign up and login page. So I'll have entered my username and email ID. Now I'll enter a password. Okay, let's put this. Then I have clicked on sign up. Now I'll have to log in. So I'll do that with my email ID and password. Okay, so my client side has verified that this is the correct password. Now I'll click on OK. This would take us to the main landing page of our platform. So now I want to store the password of my Instagram account. So I'll just put Instagram on the platform, and I'll create a random password 123456. Now I'll click on this submit button. So basically, let me explain the backend, what's going on at the backend side. Okay, so when we clicked on the submit button, basically the JavaScript running on our client took this data, converted it into the JSON format, and through the Web3 storage API, it sent that data to deploy it over the IPFS server. Now when I'll click on this button called view, it will display all the links which are basically where the data is deployed over the IPFS server. So let's check this out and click on view. So as you can see, I have received this links. The starting two links are the data of my previous storage. Now I'll click on this link. This right here is where the data is deployed on the IPFS server, and it is accessible to anyone and everyone. But since it would be only accessible to the user, it is secure. Our username and password are secure. So that's a project. Basically, through this project we achieved our goal of creating a storage system which does not depend on any central authority, and even in the login authentication we use some mathematical concepts which are called zero knowledge proof, through which we authenticate and verify our user through the client side only, thus eliminating any communication from client to server.